So as I said that I am doing this session for Agile because many of my students who have done trainings earlier and they are not aware of the Agile, or maybe whatever they heard, they have forgotten because their work is not Agile. They are working in the predictive environment. So for that purpose, I have started uh, this session for Agile only, where we are going to discuss only and only about Agile. We have to understand that Agile is a methodology. And in Agile methodology, the reason of using it, when you are trying to innovate something, and for sure, when you're going to innovate something, you know the final deliverable, but you don't know the way how to do it. So you set your vision, you set your vision, your organization vision or customer vision with the help of vision statement. In predictive project management, we call this document as project charter. And purpose is same, the strategic alignment, high level work, and major milestones if there are any, and what will be the project exit criteria, measuring performances, and so on. So in vision, we actually define the value, that what value we are trying to achieve. So based upon the history of Agile, like when the software program management started, there were many software houses and they were producing the softwares in multiple ways. There was a shortage of programmers. They were unable to cope up. Ultimately, they found out that it's not going to work out for long term. So they sat down, because just for your information, there are frameworks to develop softwares in IT. We call it SDLC, System Development Lifecycle, or Software Development Lifecycle. We have OSI layers for network type of standards. So any networking device which will be built should follow the framework. So based upon the SDLC, they said, okay, we will make Agile lifecycle, which will be used as an adaptive methodology or adaptive lifecycle, where people can review the work and then based upon the current result, they can improve their performances. So for that, those 17 owners of 17 Agile or 17 software companies just sat together in 2000 and they said that, okay, let's produce something, a common framework where we'll be able to produce the software in a systematic manner. And after the discussion, when they came out with an Agile manifesto. What was the manifesto? There were 4 points for manifesto, that individuals and their interactions are more important than following the processes and tools. Those who have done the training in earlier than 2018, so we used to have 47 processes, and then with 6th edition, we had 49 processes added, 2 processes added, so it became 49 processes. So process-based approach. Processes were good, are good, but it is difficult to maintain it. That's why PMI is shifting now also from process-based to principle-based approach, because principle is something which is your natural habit. You don't need to memorize it or remember it. It is your natural habit. So based upon that, this is processes and tools can be changed or can be tailored as per the interactions. For example, if I ask you guys a question that you are going to produce something which is equivalent to $1 trillion. Now, $1 trillion you have spent on something, but at the end you want to do something which was not predicted or which was not in the plan, but you want to do it. And if this thing does not happen, even after spending $1 trillion, will you have the satisfaction as a customer or as a stakeholder? Will you have the satisfaction that I spent $1 trillion, but still it is missing that thing? What will be your feelings if it happens? I have unmute your mic and you can speak also. One by one, raise your hand and speak. Will you be happy for that? After spending $1 trillion, you are not happy? I got the answer. Not happy, right? Yeah, because we have spent so much and ultimately Our aim or value is not achieved even after spending X amount of money. So this is no, we have to hear the people. Our usual process says no, changes will only be at the end, and changes will only happen if there is very urgent, very important, then it will happen. In Agile, this is no. Their individuals and interactions are more important, because once people sit together, they interact together, they can make a better solution. If I ask you a question that you guys are giving me a project scope of work, what is better to do? Collect the scope of work by showing you a template, or by asking you an open field and you provide your requirements here? So which option is better, option one or option two? What do
I
you think?
believe two better.
Two better, right? Because we are not closing them in a single boundary. We are leaving them that, okay, go ahead, find something, whatever works for you, ink it out. Plus, if you guys remember, we discussed something like data gathering and data elicitation. So in the first one, it's good for data gathering because it was available. When if it is not available, then we have to do what? Elicitation. Elicitation means you have to guide them, you have to help them, support them, assist them in recognizing their needs and expectations, because they are unable to express or they don't know what they actually want. So for this thing, we are saying that individuals and interactions are more important than just following the flows and processes and tools, which is good for fixed type of projects or fixed type of contracts. You know everything. Everything is crystal clear. You have been doing those things for several years, your domain, like oil and gas pipelines, laying it for X amount of years. You've been doing the job similarly with some advancements, but ultimately it's the same scope of work. This is no, it's not good for those type of people where you can value the services. So individuals and interactions are more important than process and tools. The second point is working software, or nowadays they change it, working system is more better than comprehensive documentation. If you guys are engineer, and what is the task of engineer? Making the designs, right? Or maybe they could be architect. So ultimately their task is what? Technical. Yes or no? And if I ask this technical guy to write a report, I don't care you write your design or not, but I need a daily report. Maybe it's a project requirement. We are not saying don't provide it, but wasting an expensive resource just by writing a report is useless. You are not utilizing the people for what they were hired. So it's better to have a system which can help them. We'll study later on. So measurement will be done based upon the working software or working systems, not comprehensive documentation. Like if we have some students from Saudi electricity also, or electricity company, let's suppose, if you are doing the plant of electricity, which will generate 1,000 megawatt of electricity from the single location, and your company got the project to build this or to deploy this electricity plant. So for sure, 100%. Now, if I ask, you guys will say that, Imran, we will do it in the predictive way. That's how we have been doing the things, isn't it? Which means you will be working for output. You guys agree or not? You guys have mic, you can speak. I didn't close it now. I left it open. Or you can use chat window. So that is what our style of producing the output. But in Agile, we work for value. Look, 1,000 megawatt. If I ask you how many days it will take for you to produce 1,000 megawatts, days or years? Any guess, any wild guess you think it will take? Go ahead.
Maybe a month.
You are very generous. Normally it takes 6 months to 1 year or 2 years sometimes. So
Okay.
I will be waiting for 2 years, right? That something will come out and then my light will turn on. It's not happening. In Agile, what we say is, we will measure your performance that, okay, you have left or you have produced 100 megawatt And now we are selling 100 megawatt on in anyways, or we are integrating that 100 megawatt. So once this 100 megawatt will be integrated into the main system or the national, what we call it, grid station, this 100 will start generating the value, right? Return on investment. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So that is what
Yes.
in Agile we work for value. In predictive, we work for the deliverable or output. So here, if we will produce or release 100 megawatt or whatever the megawatts, more than zero. So yes, it will start generating what? Return on investment, which means I will be more happy, more better, and I'll be getting my return. So that's how we can make the things better. So working softwares or working systems will be the source of measurement instead of just by laying on the report 50% work is done. What I have to do with your 50%? I don't care. You did 50%. What I supposed to get it? I'm waiting my return on investment until you will finish 100% working successfully. So that is the second manifesto. The third manifesto says customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiations. All of you have been professional and been working in your professional career for more than 3 or 5 years. So you know if you will negotiate from anyone, whether it's your personal life projects or professional life projects, when we negotiate, you think you will get the same quality what you could get without negotiating? When I'm saying negotiating for the price, because it's contract negotiations.
I think I will have the same quality if I negotiate.
This is the assumption, right?
Yes.
If you negotiate for the quality that I need this quality, but if you are negotiating for the price, you think that you will get the same quality? 100% no. 100%, because the person who is negotiating on prices and you're pushing him more than the limit or pushing her more than the limit, she will for sure or he will for sure change the quality standards. For sure, he knows how to do that or they know how to do that. So customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiation. And my previous example, what I said, that after spending $1 trillion, you said, no, 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 we will not have this feature. Or like he said, I will not give you the helipad on the building. So you guys spend $1 trillion and you are saying that you will not build helipad, you will for sure not be happy. So instead, by forcing your opinion, we have to collaborate with customer, understand their needs and perform it better. Then just keep negotiating the contract so you can reduce the price. Reducing the price. So reducing the price will not bring you the value. And the last manifesto point says change is the only constant. Respond to change as much as you can instead of following a plan, which we do in predictive. Why we do resistance in predictive? Because our contracts are what? Fixed price contracts, where buyer is safe and seller at risk. But it is only for the deliverable or output. But if you want value, you cannot do fixed price contracts, because the things that you don't know, how can you fix something about it? So we will keep changing it until you get the required value. So these were the 4 points, which also comes in exam. It's coming since almost 2 years now, since January 2021. That what are the Agile manifestos? So there are 4, that individuals and their interactions are more important than following the processes and tools. Working software is the way of measuring the value instead of documentation, the reports. Customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiations, and responding to change is advisable than following a plan. Based upon these 4 manifestos, there were 12 principles. No need to worry because you don't need to memorize it. But you must remember those 4 Agile manifestos. They will for sure be the part of your life. And these 12 principles are actually the basis or background of those 4 manifestos. Satisfy the customer. If you look at it, it belongs to the previous one. Welcome the change. Deliver incrementally. Collaborate daily. It has to be built around motivated individuals, which means you have to provide a psychological safety for your team so they can try innovations. Agile says face-to-face conversation is better than virtual. If you don't have any options, then no problem. But it's preferred to have face-to-face conversation. If not possible, at least one session The kickoff session should be the face-to-face, or at least in the project, one session should be face-to-face, because in face-to-face, we got to learn about the body dynamics of the team members, the body language and everything. So we'll check the attitudes, they get the chance of greeting each others and so on. And we said that working software is the way of measurement. Promote sustainable development. It's not like that you will keep changing all the time. We will work for the excellence, technical excellence. We'll keep trying to make everything as simple as possible, not simpler. And based upon the motivated individual, our team will be self-organizing. That's what we call it T-shaped team. What's the difference in between T-shaped team and I-shaped team? I-shaped team is used mostly in predictive projects where they are the subject matter expert of one and only one thing. They are unbelievable. They can do the task like within seconds, within minutes. They are the problem solvers, everything. But in Agile, we use T-shaped people. We call them a generalizing specialist, which means they are good at one thing, but they can do other things also. That is the concept of Agile team. That in Agile, we use T-shaped people. They are good at one thing and we can do other things also. Why? We'll learn in more details also. That is the concept of T-shaped. So self-organizing team or T-shaped team or motivated individuals are the identifications of Agile team. And reflect on continuous improvement. In Agile, in predictive, we have lesson learned, which we do at the end of the phase. In Agile, we do the retrospect meetings for the lesson learned as well as continuous improvement. So that was a part of 12 Agile principles. As I said, 4 manifestos are better to be remembered, and these are the back end of all those things. Or you can say the abstract of these 12 are in those 4 manifestos. So what we used to have in traditional one, scope was fixed and cost and time was variable. In Agile, we did the vice versa. Scope will keep changing until we reach the required value. That's why we call it value driven. While cost and time will remain fixed. How does it remain fixed? Because we said in Agile, we do the things time-based. For example, if I show you on one of the slide, we have this thing called that Agile have of everything time box, and we have the terminology called a sprint. But we use this word sprint in Scrum methodology of Agile, or in Agile we use this as an iteration. In predictive, what we call it phase. Our phase could be of any length in traditional or predictive one, but in Agile, Scrum says 1 to 6 weeks. Some Agile methodology says 1 to 4 weeks. Nevertheless, we are saying that keep everything as simple and as smaller as possible. So risk will be less and cost will also be less, which means change will become easier than difficult. Because these are the two things which always go against the change. So the size of the phase or iteration will be 1 to 4 weeks. While doing the project, instead of producing the daily progress report, we will have a daily stand-up meeting of the team members, 15 minutes, where the team size is between 2 to 6 members. Some says 9 members, some says 12 members, but we'll say keep 6, let's suppose. So every team in the morning has to answer Scrum Master 3 questions. What you did yesterday, what you are going to do today, and what are your challenges, impediments, or obstacles or blockers. Every team member has to answer these 3 questions. We are not going to discuss anything further. Anything further needs to be discussed. This person, whom we call it Scrum Master in Scrum, whom we call it Project Manager, whom we also call it Team Lead, and whom we also called Coach in some Agile methodologies, they all are the same words. And their purpose is what? Facilitation. Facilitation means servant leadership you have to use in order to maintain or facilitate the team. Whatever team needs to finish the task, we will say facilitate. Who will do that? Scrum Master, Project Manager, Team Lead, or Coach. He has to take every day 3 questions from every team member. So this team meeting is also time 15 minutes. Maximum you can go 5 minutes extra, but not more than that. Every planning meeting, before doing anything, we have like planning meeting where we will find out what work needs to be done and where we are standing and so on. So it's 2 hour per week size. If a iteration size is 1 week, it will be multiplied by 2 weeks. So it will be 2 weeks. If the iteration size is 2 weeks, the answer will be 4. If the iteration size is 3 weeks, answer will be 6. If the iteration size is 4, it will be 6. So it will be multiplied by 2. Once we'll finish the work, we will have the review meeting, and size of the review meeting is 1 hour per week. So if it is 1 week, it will be 1 hour. If it is 2 weeks, so 2 hours, 3 hours, or so on. Purpose of review meeting is to demonstrate the work, whatever you have done, and collect the feedback upon those demos. And retrospect we do for continuous improvement, where we do the lesson learned, what went well, we should continue doing it. What didn't go well, so we should stop doing it. Ultimately, what will happen? You will be able to finish your task accordingly. So you are updating and doing the work in most innovative way, and you are fixing your hurdles, you are fixing your problems in every retrospect meeting. So that's why we say in Agile, everything is time. And the person here, the project manager role is divided into 3 categories: product owner, scrum master, and team. Team will be the self-organizing, who will select the work, perform the work, and so on. So everything in Agile is what? Time boxed. Let's go back to our slides where we left. As I said, that Agile revolves around with 3 characters. We have a product owner. Product owner is 100% responsible to bring the requirement. In predictive, project manager was responsible for it, to engage with the stakeholders. So external access will only be by product owner. No one can go directly to the team from outside. He has to go through via product owner and then scrum master. So product owner is responsible to deliver the value of the project. To deliver the value, he has to collect the requirements by eliciting them. By eliciting them. He elicitate the requirement, he or she elicitate the requirement and then put it in a document called product backlog. Team is there to work and only work. Team is not going to do anything. Work and only work with the team. And Scrum Master, as I said, we call him project manager, team lead, coach, or Scrum Master. His task is to facilitate, monitor, and facilitate. So any facilitation is required, he will do that or she will do that. So these are the 3 main roles. Let me repeat it. Product owner is 100% responsible for the requirements. Team is responsible to perform the work based upon the requirements provided by the product owner. And Scrum Master is there to facilitate. These are the 3 roles normally. Product owner role is somehow related to business analyst, because business analyst is the person who is responsible to deliver the value. While team could be what we call it generalizing specialist, T-shaped team. They can do other things. Plus we have other stakeholders on their own pace, sponsor, customer, and other stakeholders. So they are also there. So we have T-shaped team. Now look at the reason why we said that we need the T-shape or generalizing specialist. Imagine if there are 6 team members, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and no one is going to give them order. There is only one Scrum Master who is there to facilitate them, or the team lead. So if you look at the screen and try to check that, look, if I'm saying 2 weeks is time, so how the time is fixed? In 2 weeks, we have 80 hours. So every person will perform 80 hours, so total hours will be 480 hours for the sprint or iteration. Imagine we have the human problem everywhere. this human is sick, because sick, could not come, have any problem going on with him or her, could be anything. So he's absent. So imagine if it could be the I-shaped person, and if he's absent, your work would be stopped. So that's why we take T-shaped team in Agile, because everything is 2 week. We cannot waste anything. We have to produce something in 2 weeks time. So these guys will finish the work and then compensate the work for this guy. Because in the middle of the sprint, we cannot add the team members usually in Agile. Every Agile have a different thing, but the normal perception is we cannot add the team member in the middle. If we want to add it, it has to be done before starting the sprint or iteration with the help of functional manager or PM. So no one can be added in the middle of the sprint. No one means no human can be added. No work can be added. No change can be produced at that time. Change or new work will be introduced only in the review meeting, where the team is demonstrating, and at the end, they will collect the feedback upon the existing work or for the new work which is there. And product owner will take those requirements from the stakeholders and update in the product backlog. So in Agile, we have T-shaped teams, and now you have seen the reason why we need to have T-shaped team, and they are what? Generalizing specialists. For the scalability, as I said, project is more than the 6 team members. So you can have multiple teams, and for multiple teams, we will have multiple team leads. And once we have multiple team leads, so we can have another team lead who will be doing the management and monitoring of these team leads. For example, if these people are meeting every day on daily basis on 15 minutes, so these people will meet per 1 week. Similarly, there could be multiple team leads for that. So they will meet after 2 weeks, and there could be multiple two. So they will meet after 3 weeks, and so on. So they will meet after 4 weeks. So the last level, if we are unable to determine this, we call them chief scrum master, chief product owner. Chief means he is handling multiple teams, or she is handling multiple teams. So you can scale up to any level. I will stop now here. And if you guys have any questions, any confusions, you can raise your hand and ask now. If not, then I will go further. So any questions from here?
I do have a question on the T
Go ahead.
shape and I shape.
Okay, go ahead.
So the T shape is better to use in Agile.
Yes.
And how about the I shape? Is it when should we use it?
In the predictive one, our construction projects, our normal projects.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions I may answer? If not, okay, go ahead, Hafiz.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question regarding this product owner. What is the limitations of his responsibilities, or you can say his duties? Because sometimes we face questions where duties are distributed among the this product owner and this project manager, or you can say scrum master.
Okay. Look, imagine if this is the external area, or let's draw a line instead of making the work. This is external area, external to the project. So who can talk or who have the access? Only the product owner. He will collect the requirements from outside, and he will put them in a document called product backlog. He will be the bridge between external and internal world. That's why we also called him voice of customer, because he is representing customer in our organization. He is the representative of customer in our organization. So he brings the work and put all the work in the product backlog. To get the work done, he takes the help from Scrum Master or project manager. But he will not give any instructions or any commands. Team will decide the work, and they will do the management by themselves. In achieving the objectives, if they are lacking something like training, like approvals are not coming, the product owner is not available, or the person who needs to approve, he or she is not available, then this type of facilitation project manager has to escalate with the product owner that Mr. Product Owner, it's not happening. Our team is keep doing the work, but the work is not going to be approved. Do something, because product owner is the voice of customer. He has to use his role to get the work done. To further elaborate it, because we have started now, let me start this part also. I was thinking to start in the next class. How the product owner collect the requirement? He has a story card. Let's do it brief today, and then in next class we'll do in more detail. He has a story card to collect the requirement. So what happens? This story card actually contains the persona of the person from whom they have to collect the requirement. So they can refer them with the help of character, that which type of person or stakeholder he is. So we can represent them accordingly. This concept of persona analysis is actually based upon empathization or empathy. What is empathy in a single or in easy word I can say? It's like feeling yourself in someone else's shoes, that what you are or what they are going through. So once you will be considering yourself into their own shoes, then you will be able to understand what he or she is going through with the problem. So based upon that, what happens? They create the persona of the person, that he needs or she needs what. We define the attributes like they like technology or they don't like technology, or they are mid-age or whatever the thing is. Then they collect their requirement in the form of a story, that I want to do this. So when I click here, it should happen like this, and I should be able to do that. So he or she is explaining. This explanation is called as user story. Whenever the user will explain the story, this product owner has to collect something called acceptance criteria, that okay, I heard it, now tell me that how you will validate it. So we will use it as an acceptance criteria. And what features you are looking for? So we have something called definition of done, that we will feel it, that okay, definition of done in predictive, use it as a checklist for the quality control guys. Then they check it with the checklist, that all the work which was required to be done to complete this user story or to complete this requirement is completed. So based upon that, we define the acceptance criteria, that once we will finish all the work based upon definition of done, what will be the acceptance criteria for that story. And he collect or she collect all the stories in a single document called, where we have multiple stories, what we call this document. Anyone remember the word I used many times?
Product backlog or
No,
Apex.
epics. And these epics now will go to the product backlog. So that was a small concept of product owner role, which we'll discuss more in next classes. Okay, so let's go further. So what happened in the project? When he bring the requirement, he put them in a document called product backlog. And product backlog is prepared based upon multiple iterations. And then we define that things will be released in multiple iterations or sprint. Like if you look in this, we will complete those features. These blue things are what? User stories, or you can call it features. Or maybe one user story can contain multiple features. So how many features or how many stories you will release in how many release? So release one, produce the release one, how many iterations we have to complete? We have to complete, let's suppose, 2 iterations to complete one release. This release might contain X number of user stories and X number of features. Based upon the result, we will do the release 2, and to produce release 2, we will have 3 iterations. This iteration could be of 1 week size or 2 week size or 3 week size or 4 week size. So after 3 iterations, we will be in the position to do the release 2. That is what, that's how we plan the iteration in Agile. And we give the initial release plan that, okay, we'll keep releasing accordingly. So what happened, Mr. Product Owner? That is what perfect Agile. Again, the same thing repeated. Mr. Product Owner will bring the requirements in the form of epics, and he will throw or put it in the product backlog. Then this product backlog will become what? Prioritized product backlog. Prioritized means the user stories which gives higher returns and have higher risk will be done first. So this work will only and only here who have access, Mr. Product Owner only and only have the access to update it to what he does, he prioritizes it. Prioritization is his task. Refinement means the features which are no longer needed, remove them. Update. These all are the tasks of product backlog. Prioritize, refine, update, adjust it, backlog. These all things will be done by Mr. Product Owner. Then based upon this fixed work, we will do the planning meeting. We means team will do the planning meeting where they will take the user story and decompose into tasks. If you guys remember, this product backlog is actually the reflection of WBS. And in WBS, we have what work package. And here we have what product backlog have user stories. Here work package is going to activities. And here user story is going into tasks. So here what will happen, we will take the user story and decompose into tasks. When we have all the tasks ready, we'll put them in another backlog called sprint backlog in a Scrum. In Agile, we call it iteration backlog. So what happens? These tasks are there based upon their dependencies, finish to start, start to start, and so on. So when iteration backlog is ready, now team will start a sprint. It could be between 1 to 4 weeks. Where on daily stand-up meeting will be 15 minutes. He will ask or she will ask what you did yesterday, what you will do today, and what are your impediments. When the sprint will finish, whatever the work they have done, they will demonstrate it and collect the feedback in demo and feedback are the words they would. Demo and feedback. And they will correct the feedback. If it is accepted, very good. We will do a retrospect session that what went wrong, what we should continue doing it, what we should improve doing it. And if it is not accepted, no problem. We'll do the retrospect as well as we will update the new work or modified work in the product backlog. And this circle will continue throughout the project until the required value is achieved. So that's how we keep doing the work until the whole value is achieved. When I say Agile have two methodologies. One is like our iterative scheduling with backlog. What we call this thing, iterative scheduling with backlog, where we are working with backlog. Iterative scheduling with backlog. It is in our slides and schedule chapter. If you want to open it and read it. Or we can have on-demand scheduling with the help of Kanban boards. On-demand scheduling with the help of Kanban boards. These are two methods which we can use in. There are multiples, but these are the two in our book and our reference materials. So we can use Kanban way or we can use the iterative backlog. We use this thing because we have something called theory of constraints. You don't have the resources or you have some constraints. So we use Kanban instead of iterative backlog. Why? Because we cannot rely on the original schedule. How we do the work, we'll do it in the next iterations also. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, can we have the previous slide, sir?
This one.
Yes, sir. In iterative schedule, can we change the dates, the timeline, or the milestones?
We can change the milestones or whatever you like it, but duration will remain same. If it was 2 weeks, so it will remain 2 weeks until the whole project.
Actually, it's a backlog now, sir. Yeah, backlog means it.
Backlog will be updated
as
after
per
every
the-
2 weeks.
Okay.
Or product owner can also update it while the team is busy in working. And if product owner found out in the middle of the way that, oh, there is a new requirement and it is totally different from the previous requirement, in that condition only product owner is the only authority who can terminate the sprint in the middle. Otherwise, this sprint will not be terminated or finished. So this will continue, whatever the size is, it will remain same. As I said, no work is added, no changes are added. It can only be added at the end of review meeting. If something is bigger than that, then product owner can terminate the sprint. So yes, product backlog, that's what I use the words, if you remember here. I think it's just screen is clear now here. What I use the word, prioritization will keep happening, adjustment will keep happening, refinement will keep happening. And I told you refinement means some work can be added, some work can be removed. So this product backlog, like our WBS, which is our scope baseline, remains updated, right? We keep changing with the help of change request. Yes or no?
Yes.
So here this product backlog will also keep updating, because we'll keep working until the required value is achieved. Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
No problem. So these are the two methodologies, iterative or on-demand scheduling. And we call it pull-based method also instead of push-based. And the purpose is what? To monitor the work, limit the work in progress. That's how a sample it looks like. I have taken a snapshot from one of the slides, sample slides actually. If you look at, these are the tasks, and these are, we create the ratio metrics in the beginning. Who will do that? What is the expected start date and end date, and in how many days it will complete. That's how we make the project planner for the project. That it will start on 3 September, finish on 5 October. Overall progress as of now is 20%. So we use what we call it information radiators, which will be our next slides coming over. And that's like in the predictive one, we have the milestones. Here we have the product roadmap. So in that case, we have seen many things, right? That we can see how the roadmap will be done, how we'll give you the release one, and so on. And similar to that, we have the release planner. That in iteration 0. Anyone remember why we do the iteration 0? If anyone remember from my past classes, iteration 0 is done for the setup purpose. Setup iteration, where you set the things so the other things can start. Like if you are going to make a website, so in the iteration 0, you will install all the required softwares and fix anything, any connectors, whatever you need to do. So in next iterations, we can continue working it. And that's how we make the planner. So iteration means phase. In Agile, what we call it? Iterations. In predictive, we call it phase. And in Agile, we use information radiators instead of comprehensive documentations. The purpose of information radiators are low tech and high touch, which means anyone who can look at the chart, he or she can easily understand what's going wrong with the project. So we use information radiators. Some of the names are product backlog is also information radiators. Our what do you call it? Our progress charts. Progress charts are like burn down chart, which shows how much work is remaining, or burn up chart, which shows how much work is completed or accomplished. So this is what burn up, and this is what burn down, and we measure our progress based upon that. And in predictive, we can use here also earned value management for this purpose. How much work is finished, that how many story points are finished. So we use information radiators because low tech, high touch. In predictive, we use special tools and reports. These are high tech, prepared in specialized softwares, and low touch. Only engineers and the project related people can understand it. So that's what we use in predictive. While in Agile, we use information radiators, which are low tech and high touch tools. So that was a small brief. What I found out that many of the students are missing from the last classes. So I thought to share this information with all of you. So it was very convincing and motivating to see so many numbers. I'm glad you guys made it. And for sure, we will continue in the next classes with more stories where I will go deep. Maybe I will show in the next class the remaining methodologies because there are more XP and so on. And in the third week, I will show you a sample project, that how to do a project in Agile, so you guys can easily understand. So let's keep it here. Thank you very much for joining. I'll stop the recording and you can ask as many questions as you like before you guys leave.